Yes. So once again, good morning, students. Okay, just it happens that yesterday one of the teacher is supposed to take class in this room at the time when we are having our social science class. Okay, so we have just dropped out the yesterday's class. So today once again we are here, okay, for our social science live class. Okay, friend. So in our live class day before yesterday, that is on Wednesday, we have completed the discussion on textile industry. Okay, in which we have discussed that the textile industry in India had faced lot of competition from the British textile industry. Because of that competition, number of weavers in Indian textile industry became unemployed. They lost their jobs. Thereafter, during the 1854, okay, in 1854, the first cotton textile mill was established in the city of Bombay. And from 1854 then till 1900, the number of industries, the cotton mills, grew up in India. Okay, so all these things we have discussed in our Wednesday's live session. We also discussed that the Indian textile industry had some advantages over the British textile industry during the First World War. During the First World War, the textile industry in Britain was ordered by the British government to stop the production of any textile for the common market. The reason was, during the First World War, the British textile industry was engaged. Okay, it was ordered by the British government that the British textile industry has to produce those type of textile which were used for the war. So what type of textile could the British textile industry produce during First World War? So the British textile industry was engaged in producing textile, that is the fabric which is being used for the uniform of soldiers. Okay, so all the textile industry in Britain was ordered by the British government to produce fabric, to produce textile for making uniform of the soldiers. Some of the industries were engaged in manufacturing of textile which could be used for making tents. Okay, tents for the soldiers in war field. Some other textile industries start manufacturing canvas. Canvas is also a type of textile, okay, for the manufacturing of canvas shoes. While many other textile industries completely changed their product. Earlier they were manufacturing textile. Now when they found that there would be more profit in other product which could be useful for war needs. Okay, so for the time being, these textile industry stopped the production of textile. They have set up some other machines and they start producing those products which were useful for war needs. Because of all that, the import of textile from Britain into India drastically reduced. तो जो ब्रिटेन में टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री थी, फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के टाइम पीरियड में उस टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री ने अपना टेक्सटाइल प्रोडक्शन लगभग रिड्यूस कर दिया। स्पेशली वो कपड़ा टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री नहीं बना रही थी जो कॉमन मार्केट में कॉमन पीपल खरीदते थे, ठीक है। जिसके कारण क्या हुआ, ब्रिटेन से जो भी टेक्सटाइल 1914 के पहले इंडिया में आता था, उसकी डिमांड, उसकी क्वांटिटी क्या हुई, रिड्यूस हुई, बिकॉज द ब्रिटिश टेक्सटाइल वर नॉट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग द टेक्सटाइल व्हिच कुड बी सोल्ड आउट इनटू इंडियन मार्केट। गॉट इट। तो कुल मिलाकर फर्स्ट वर्ल्ड वॉर के समय पर ब्रिटेन से इंडिया में इंपोर्ट होने वाले टेक्सटाइल की क्वांटिटी क्या हो गई, कम हो गई। When the quantity was reduced, when the quantity was reduced, अब जब इंपोर्टेड टेक्सटाइल की क्वांटिटी रिड्यूस हो गई तो कॉमन मार्केट में किसके लिए मौका बना, इट वॉज ए चांस फॉर द इंडियन टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री। ओके, एंड दिस वॉज द टाइम when the Indian textile industry has achieved a good growth। उस समय पर इंडियन टेक्सटाइल इंडस्ट्री को बहुत तेजी से ग्रोथ मिलना शुरू हुई। बेटा, those students who are facing the network issue, okay, now that may be an issue for your side, okay, either the connectivity is comparatively weak, the place where you are living, as far as concerned about the net connectivity from where we are teaching, okay, so in our system the net speed is quite okay। Got it beta? So it may be an issue of yours। what you should do, एक बार अपने मोबाइल का, है ना, जो नेटवर्क है उसको एयरप्लेन मोड पर लेकर के आओ एंड इमीडिएटली एयरप्लेन मोड से वापस आओ, सो इट में इंक्रीज द नेट स्पीड, और आइदर प्लीज टेक द हेल्प ऑफ योर पेरेंट्स। ओके, सो टुडे वी आर गोइंग टू डिस्कस ऑन ए न्यू टॉपिक, okay, which is being given in our textbook। okay, so the topic for discussion today is basically, which is being given is, it is about the sword of Tipu Sultan and Woods steel। okay, now what basically we are going to discuss in this topic, in this topic we are going to discuss on iron and steel industry in India। okay, in this topic what we are going to discuss, we are going to discuss about the iron and steel industry in India। okay, before British arrived in India, okay, before the British arrived in India, and how the arrival of British, how the arrival of British affected this industry। okay, so ये जो particular topic है, that we will cover in around 3 or 4 live sessions, okay, depending upon how much speed we are able to work out for the completion of the topic. Got it? So, in this topic, what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss the iron and steel industry in India. Okay? Before British arrived in India, that is, what is the status of iron and steel industry in India before the arrival of British? And when British arrived, how the arrival of British affect the iron and steel industry? Sir, are Indians also work in British textile company? Better, the British textile companies were in England or Britain. Okay, so the very less number of people who were lucky enough that they had the sufficient amount of money to go to Britain, they were educated enough to get the job. Okay, so वो किसी को भी मिल सकता है. That is not an issue. Is it clear, better? So what we are going to basically discuss in this main topic. Okay, now again this topic which is being given, we are for the purpose of our, yes beta, now this time the connection was little bit unstable from our side, again it is okay. Okay, so for the purpose of our convenience, we are again dividing it into a small subtopics, okay, which are coming in our syllabus or textbook. हमने convenience के हिसाब से हमने इसको paragraph wise जो है subtopics में again हमने divide कर लिया. Okay, so right now what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss about the quality of steel. We are going to discuss about quality of steel from which the sword of Tipu Sultan was made. Okay. So in the first paragraph, what we are going to discuss? We are going to discuss on the quality of steel from which the sword of Tipu Sultan was made. Now, first of all, I would like to ask you, all of you have heard about this famous personality, Tipu Sultan. Yes, friends, please tell me, do all of you have heard about this famous personality, Tipu Sultan? Okay, most of the friends are saying yes, they heard about it. So the Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Kingdom of Mysore. Okay, and he fought around 4 wars with the British. Got it? In the last war, that is the 4th war, Tipu Sultan died fighting, okay, with the British, and the time when the British recovered the body of Tipu Sultan, okay, he was holding his sword in his hand. Okay, so Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Kingdom of Mysore. Okay, Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Kingdom of Mysore. Okay. He died while fighting with British in fourth war. Okay. So in which war Tipu Sultan has died? He died while fighting with British in fourth war. Okay. When the British got his dead body. Okay. What happens after the war? The British searched for Tipu Sultan. Okay. So when the British got his dead body, he was holding, okay, he was holding his sword in hand. Got it? So Tipu Sultan was the ruler of Kingdom of Mysore. All of you have heard about the Kingdom of Mysore. Okay. He died while fighting with British in fourth war. That is, before the death, Tipu Sultan had fought 3 more wars earlier with the British forces. Got it? When the British got his dead body, he was holding his sword in hand. So the war was over. Okay, Tipu Sultan died. The British army, the generals, now start searching for Tipu Sultan. At that time, they didn't know whether Tipu Sultan died or not. But the war was over. There was no one who was challenging the British army. So the war over, and now the British started searching for the people who died. So they found Tipu Sultan also dead. Okay. At that time, he was holding his sword in his hand. Okay. Now, the British officers heard the famous stories, heard the number of descriptions, stories about the quality of sword that the Tipu Sultan had. Okay, जो ब्रिटिशर्स थे उन्होंने अक्सर लगातार किस्से कहानियों में इधर उधर से टीपू सुल्तान की तलवार की बहुत सारी तारीफ सुन रखी थी. Yes, where are the remaining students? Only 19 are there. Okay. This is not a good habit, students. Some of the students now started skipping the class. Okay, someone inform them, otherwise I will send a voice call to their parents. Ojasvi Swade, send a message in the WhatsApp group to remaining students to join the live class immediately, okay? Otherwise, tell them that sir will call your parents directly today evening. मैं सीधे voice call करने वाला हूँ. Ojasvi, do it right now, okay? So, when the British got his dead body, he was holding his sword in his hand. and the Britishers have heard number of stories about the quality, okay, about the strength of the sword of Tipu Sultan. Okay, now why the sword was so famous? Okay, the sword was famous. Okay, the sword was very special. The sword was very special because it was very hard. The sword was very famous because it was very hard and had a very sharp edge. Okay, the sword was very special. Why the sword of Tipu Sultan was so famous? What was his specialty? Because it was very hard. Okay, the sword was very hard and it had very sharp edge. जो टीपू सुल्तान की sword थी वो बहुत ज्यादा hard थी. Okay, बहुत ज्यादा hard थी. Why? Because it was made with a special technique of making iron and steel in India. Okay, so the sword was very special because it was very hard and had very sharp edge. Got it? Okay, it could easily rip through the armor of opponent. Okay, it could easily rip through the armor of opponent. Okay, ये जो टीपू सुल्तान की sword थी इतनी ज्यादा हार्ड थी, इसकी एज यानी धार इतनी ज्यादा शार्प थी कि जब टीपू सुल्तान अपने दुश्मन के ऊपर वार करता था, ओके, व्हेन टीपू सुल्तान ओके अटैक ऑन हिज अपोनेंट, द एज वाज सो शार्प okay that it could rip through the armor of the opponent. तलवार इतनी कठोर, इतनी मजबूत और उसकी धार इतनी शार्प और इतनी तेज थी कि तलवार के एक वार से, ठीक है, कई बार टीपू सुल्तान अपने शत्रु का आर्मर ऑल ऑफ यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट आर्मर क्या होता है? लोहे का बना हुआ एक कवच होता है, ठीक है, और वो जो कवच है वो इतना ज्यादा थिक और स्ट्रॉन्ग था कि इतना स्ट्रॉन्ग होता था कि तलवार के बहुत सारे वार करने के बावजूद भी वो कवच टूटता नहीं था. ओके, एंड द अपोनेंट इज सेफ, ठीक है, बट दिस पर्टिकुलर sword was very special. Okay, it was very hard and it has a very sharp edge. इसके बारे में टीपू सुल्तान की तलवार के बारे में ये प्रसिद्ध था. तो आर्मर इज नॉट ए शील्ड. शील्ड क्या होता है बेटा? ढाल होती है, ऐसे हम हाथ में पकड़ सकते हैं, ठीक है. आप लोगों ने अभी महाभारत सीरियल देखा होगा ना, कुछ दिनों पहले आ रहा था ना बेटा महाभारत सीरियल, ठीक है, तो उसमें वो आपने इसका कर्ण के कवच और कुंडल के बारे में सुना था ना. वो जो कवच होता है, कवच इज व्हाट? व्हिच इज प्रोटेक्टिंग दिस पार्ट ऑफ द बॉडी, वेस्ट वाला. व्हाट इट? दिस इज नोन एज व्हाट? आर्मर. उसको क्या कहते हैं? आर्मर कहते हैं. Got it? So the sword was so strong, it has such a sharp edge that Tipu Sultan was able to cut through the armor and kill the opponent. ठीक है, एक ही बार से, एक ही दो बार से उस व्यक्ति का, सामने वाले अपोनेंट का कवच भी कट जाता था और वो तलवार उस कवच को भेद करके, काट करके एनिमी को मार डालती थी. ओके, नाउ हाउ इज इट पॉसिबल? ये पॉसिबल क्यों था? उसकी तलवार में ये विशेषता कैसे आई थी, है ना? हाउ डिड सच टाइप ऑफ sword was prepared? Okay, now in India, especially in southern India, especially in southern part of India, there were some community or the caste who were specialists in purifying the iron ore, that is they were the specialist iron smelters. Okay, and these iron smelters are preparing a type of or a quality of steel, okay, with a specialized method. उस जमाने में साउथ इंडिया में बहुत सारी ऐसी कास्ट और कम्युनिटीज थी जो एक स्पेशल प्रकार की प्रोसेस के जरिए एक स्पेशल स्टील बनाती थी. ओके, एंड दैट स्टील इज नोन एज व्हाट? वुड्स स्टील. उस स्टील को ब्रिटिशर्स ने क्या नॉमिनेशन दिया? वुड्स स्टील. गॉट इट? Okay, so this quality of steel, this quality of sword, okay, come from a steel. Okay, this quality of sword come from a steel which is a carbon steel. Okay, this quality of sword come from a steel which is a carbon steel. Okay, now what does it means, the carbon steel? It means that during the process of iron smelting, अभी कार्बन स्मेल्टिंग कैसे बनता है ना? During the process of iron smelting, okay, the smelters, during the process of iron smelting, the smelters mixed some quantity of carbon. Okay, so during the process of iron smelting, the smelter makes some quantity of carbon in iron. Okay, this carbon gives hardness to steel. This carbon gives hardness to steel, and the carbon particles give a sharp edge, with a flowing water pattern. Okay, with a flowing water pattern. So during the process of iron smelting, okay, ये जो इतनी अच्छी क्वालिटी मिलती थी, बेटा जस्ट वेट फॉर सर, वुड्स स्टील इज फाउंड नाउ आल्सो. Just let me complete the explanation of this one, then I will come to your question and answers. Okay, so this quality of sword, okay, वो जो quality थी टीपू सुल्तान की, this quality of sword come from a steel which is called as carbon steel. उसको क्या कहा जाता था? कार्बन स्टील कहा जाता था. Got it? How this carbon steel is produced? ये कार्बन स्टील कैसे प्रोड्यूस होता था? So during the process of iron smelting is a process for the purification of carbon. ठीक है, कार्बन के प्यूरिफिकेशन के लिए जो प्रोसेस होती है, that process is known as iron smelting. Okay, so during the process of iron smelting, the smelter mixes some quantity of carbon in iron. ठीक है, in that, at that time, some quantity of carbon is mixed into this carbon gives, okay, this carbon gives hardness to steel. जब ये कार्बन उस स्टील में, जब कार्बन आयरन में मिक्स हो जाता था, then it gives hardness to steel and carbon particles. ठीक है, स्टील हार्ड हो जाएगा और उसमें जो कार्बन पार्टिकल्स हैं, ठीक है, दे गिव अ शार्प एज विद ए फ्लोइंग वाटर पैटर्न. वो जो कार्बन के पार्टिकल्स उसमें शामिल थे, वो कार्बन पार्टिकल्स क्या करते थे? उसको एक बहुत तेज धार प्रोवाइड करते थे. गॉट इट? बिकॉज ऑफ दैट the sword was able to rip through the armor of the opponent. Okay, वो जो sword थी, वो उस opponent के armor को क्या करती थी? काट डालती थी. Now one of the students has asked a question, and that is what, sir, please tell, is the wood steel is found now also or not? Beta, the technology through which the Indian iron smelters produced the wood steel, that technology was lost by the Indians. जिस टेक्नोलॉजी के कारण उस जमाने में ये कार्बन स्टील या वुड स्टील प्रोड्यूस होता था, वो टेक्नोलॉजी धीरे धीरे भारतीय लोग क्या हो गए? लूज करते चले गए. वो जो टेक्नोलॉजी है वो हिंदुस्तान में धीरे धीरे क्या हो गई? खत्म हो गई. टेक्नोलॉजी क्यों खत्म हुई? क्योंकि इंडिया में जब ब्रिटिशर्स आना शुरू हुए तो उन्होंने ब्रिटेन से आयरन और स्टील कहां पर इंपोर्ट करवाना शुरू किया? इंडिया में इंपोर्ट करवाना शुरू किया. उस जमाने में ब्रिटेन में बड़े बड़े आयरन और स्टील प्लांट लगना शुरू हुए. इंडिया में भी ब्रिटिशर्स की गवर्नमेंट थी, तो अपने आयरन और स्टील प्लांट का आयरन और स्टील सेल करने के लिए ब्रिटिशर्स ने ब्रिटेन का आयरन और स्टील कहां पर इंपोर्ट करवाना शुरू किया? इंडिया में इंपोर्ट करवाना शुरू किया. चूंकि ये आयरन और स्टील बड़ी बड़ी फैक्ट्रीज में, बड़े बड़े स्टील प्लांट्स में बनता था, इसलिए ब्रिटेन से आने वाला जो आयरन और स्टील था उसकी कॉस्ट कैसी थी? बहुत कम थी. जिसके कारण इंडियन आयरन और स्मेल्टर्स जो आयरन और स्टील प्रोड्यूस करते थे, द डिमांड ऑफ द इंडियन आयरन स्टील रिड्यूस, एंड दोज आयरन स्मेल्टर्स हु were the expert in producing this carbon steel, they lost their job. ठीक है, वो क्या हो गए? अपना जॉब उनका खत्म हो गया. जॉब खत्म हो गया तो उन लोगों ने दूसरा कोई ऑक्यूपेशन एडॉप्ट कर लिया, ठीक है। धीरे धीरे उनकी पूरी की पूरी फैमिली जो है उसको वो स्किल मिली ही नहीं, ठीक है, क्योंकि पुराने जमाने में किसी भी कंट्री में, ठीक है, कोई भी स्किल कैसे ट्रांसफर होती थी, द स्किल इज ट्रांसफर्ड फ्रॉम वन जनरेशन टू अनदर। अब यदि फैमिली में आयरन स्मेल्टिंग का काम बंद हो गया, घर वाले आयरन स्मेल्टिंग का काम कर ही नहीं रहे हैं, तो ग्रेजुअली व्हाट हैपेंस, द फैमिलीज लॉस्ट द नॉलेज, द फैमिलीज लॉस्ट द टेक्नोलॉजी ऑफ प्रोड्यूसिंग आयरन एंड स्टील। What is friends? So that's all for today, because I think it's the time for your next class. And beta, it is happening that in this room the last class is going to over around 10. Okay, so instead of 10 sharp, we'll be having our classes by 10 a.m. Okay, 10:10 पर हम लोग अपनी क्लास स्टार्ट करेंगे। Okay, and it is around 10:46. Okay, so the next class in this room is about to start within 5 minutes. Okay, so that's all for today, and in the next live class, okay, we'll continue this topic. Thank you, friends.